contributor, former deputy director of the FBI. Dan, thank you for joining us tonight.
Sure.
The death of Khamenei, will this end up being the sea change in the Middle East that so many have been waiting for? Or at this moment, is this being overstated given what we don't know yet on the ground there?
Well, it's absolutely certain that they've had a secession plan in place. They obviously know they've been targets for a long time. Having said that, Laura, it's been close to 50 years we've been dealing with the seed of the Shia Islamo-radicalism in Iran. Republican and Democrat administrations have largely failed to act. We've tried a number of different strategies, from the JCPOA to even, de facto and de jure appeasement at times, and none of it's worked. President Trump is the first president to make a decisive call on this and to say we've had enough. And keep in mind, Laura, I understand this is not going to be another Iraq war. I'm convinced that's not how President Trump, I believe, is thinking about this. But, the folks out there who are criticizing him, you have to understand, he gave them a long runway for diplomacy. He's been talking about since 2016 the fact that bombing and taking out and decapitating the regime is an option. He gave them a number of opportunities to take an off-ramp, and they just didn't take it. And now they're dead. And that's just the facts.
And Dan, all of us remember all too well the $1.4 billion in cash that was directly given to Iran during the Obama administration. These were funds that were unfrozen, and this was part of the Iranian negotiation at the time. After he failed to support the Green Revolution on the ground in 2009, which he conceded was a mistake. But there's been an attempt after attempt and flub after flub, and Trump said, I'm not going to kick this can down the road. I'm going to try to deal with this. And whatever anyone says, that is super bold.
Yeah. I mean, do you have any idea how many white papers in academia have been written about how to transform this cauldron into the Middle East into a more peaceful place? President Trump, I think he thinks in like a basic kind of SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. The Iranians were just too stupid to take advantage of that. A basic game theory analyst will tell you when you're in a position of weakness like the Iranians were, they have no air defenses, they have a military designed solely for regime preservation, and they couldn't even do that for a day. What you try to do is you try to mitigate threats and take advantage of small opportunities when you're in a position of weakness. What the Iranians did, and now they're dead, their leadership, is they exacerbated the threats and they kicked away all the opportunities every time they came in front of them. They were not negotiating from any position of strength whatsoever. Laura, even their proxies have abandoned them. And we don't know what's going to happen moving forward. I'm sure there's going to be something that emerges from this, and we all hope it doesn't. But their proxies have been basically castrated. They had no card to play with, and they were acting like they had a full house. It was just bizarre, and now you see what happens.
Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, Dan, just posted on X moments ago, we will not tolerate powerful missiles targeting the American people. Those missiles will be destroyed along with Iran's missile production. The Iranian Navy will be destroyed. And as President Trump has said his entire life, Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. The United States didn't start this conflict, but we will finish it. If you kill or threaten Americans anywhere in the world, as Iran has, then we will hunt you down and we will kill you. There's been some disagreement, though, hasn't there, Dan, between the intel community and what they concluded Iran was capable of. And fast forward to today, when we say we're not going to tolerate missiles that target Americans, I imagine what Secretary of War Hegseth is saying is missiles that target American military bases in the Middle East, because they did not have the power to hit the mainland United States, not even close.
Yeah, I mean, I know what surfaces in open source and what happens behind the scenes is typically different, but there's a relatively strong consensus, and it is all open source now, that the Iranians were just completely committed to enrichment. They were offered a path many times for a civilian nuclear program with proper guardrails, and they basically gave the double-barreled middle finger to anyone who suggested it and said, no, we're going to enrich and we're going to do it here. We're not even going to entertain guardrails. Well, if you want to enrich to the point the Iranians wanted to enrich, you want to weaponize it. You're not looking at powering, a bunch of heated pools in Iran. You're looking at it to create a weapon. And even after President Trump decimated their nuclear program before, again, this is what I was talking about before with the point of weakness, you would think at that point they would have made some major concessions and tried to mitigate some of the threats and take advantage of small opportunities. They did the exact opposite. They basically made no concessions at all. And President Trump and his team had basically had enough. You can only offer them food so many times before they throw it in your face. And now Dan, you see what happens.
And Dan, your message to some of our friends on the right who are saying, look, President Trump ran on no regime change, and now President Trump is doing regime change. You see the Democrats are picking up on that for 2026 themes. Your message to them tonight.
Well, it's incredible how the doomers, Laura, it hasn't even been 24 hours. It's happened at 3 a.m. It's not 3 a.m. Eastern time. Can you give the man a chance to cook a little bit? I mean, he just deposed and decapitated the entire upper-level infrastructure of the Iranian death to America regime. Maybe give the guy 5 minutes before you're already crapping on everything he did? I mean, who else has been able to do this? If it doesn't work out over time, there'll be a bunch of papers and a bunch of talking heads, I'm sure, who will rip it apart. It's been 24 hours. Give the guy a chance. Where's he been proven wrong in the past? I thought World War III was going to break out after the Abraham Accords and after he moved the embassy and after he got Maduro. None of that happened. Give the guy a chance. He knows what he's doing. He's surrounded himself with more than competent people. Give it a chance. It's not even been 24 hours yet.
All right, Dan, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Busy news tonight.